So I'm waiting for the coffee shop to open. And it's in this building. Oh, they turn the lights on, yay. Oh, here is your all-in-one video. That is Chicago, downtown. And what they call the Chicago River, which is really just a big canal. Now I'm showing you Lincoln Park. Here's a restaurant on the shore.
Shops, museums, parks, beaches, up and down the lakefront, almost all of it free and open to the public. Now, until very recently, nobody would think about putting a park on the river because it was heavily polluted. There was all this industrial traffic moving up and down here, belching black smoke into the air, and the river itself just smelled and looked awful. But now it's really become an amenity. See, you can peer underneath it. It's wide open under there. The building does not touch the ground at that location. But her first building, the one that won her a MacArthur Genius Grant, was built in 2011 called Aqua, Latin for modernism. Less is more. It's from 1988. Wedge-shaped designs. They're actually triangular. Wyss was an avid sailor. He put triangles in every building he designed because they reminded him of the sails on a sailboat. 1848, the first train chugged out of Chicago too. Because we're centrally located in the United States, we quickly became the hub of the rail industry. Well, that idea was so brilliant by the 1900, that one-page catalog was 1,000 pages thick. It was the Amazon of its day. You could live your entire life out of it. You could buy your baby crib and your coffin from the same publication. Also using that steel is actually a truss system. It's carrying the entire load of the building down into that truss, where it only covers 25% of this irregular small lot at its base, which meant that they could build a river walk as required by local ordinance. And you'll see when you pass by, it's actually a two-decker river walk to downtown Chicago, which burned to the ground, because it was mostly made out of wood, including the streets and the sidewalks. And then the wind carried those burning embers across the main stem where we started the tour and burned for another mile until there was nothing left to burn, a cemetery that is now part of Lincoln Park. 4 square miles of the city were destroyed, 17,000 buildings, 300 people died, 100,000 people were homeless out of a population of 300,000. But the very next day, Chicago started rebuilding. They took a lot of that fire debris, shoved it into Lake Michigan, and started the landfilling process and lived in the parks that we have along the lake today. And young men flocked here, especially from the East Coast, to help the city rebuild and make their fortunes. But it wasn't easy because they were starting from scratch. And the building technology they had in those days, well, it took a long time to build a building to begin with. And when Pelly, Clark, and Pelly master planned these 3 buildings, 2 apartment towers flanking the Salesforce Tower right in the center, on a piece of land that's really historic in Chicago. It's really where the first community was developed. English explorers, French fur traders, and Native Americans were all living out there and drinking at the 3 taverns that they had right here on the river back in the 1820s, long before Chicago was even a town. Now it's going to get noisy because the casino's going on. But I think that they're tearing this bridge. And right in front of us is the Mart, originally called the Merchandise Mart, designed by Graham Anderson, Probst and White, built in the 1920s. It was the largest building in the United States until the Pentagon was built. Originally built for Marshall Field, the crown prince of retail. The idea was this was going to be a wholesale warehouse that housed all the goods that any department store in the Midwest would need. He was going to corner the market on that.